Chaps, I found this fellow on the internet the other day. You're doing like a little fundraiser for us. I'm massively grateful, but you're one of those things. And when you message, I look at it and I'm like, is this a professional fundraiser? The ones that just do it every single weekend and they want
Yeah,
everyone to know about it. And do you know what? It does help, but we're after like, what's the purpose? Why are they doing it? Because most cases, there's a real reason behind it. So tell us about
yeah.
yourself, Jordan, mate.
Hi, my name's Jordan from Rugby. 31 years old. Um, I was in the military from the age of 17. I left in 2000. I started in 2009. Left in 2015 when I was 23, I think. Um,
You look good for your age, mate.
do I actually?
No, no, you do, you do. You look lovely, mate. But no,
Yeah.
I was kind of working out. I was like, is he over 30 or under 30?
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, there
I
we go,
wear,
mate.
I wear I wear a hat most of the time, you see. And most people say I look 25, 26. Take the hat off, and
Oh,
they're like, oh yeah,
oh.
maybe 35. I'm like, yeah, sound nice one, lads.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
fair.
I try and cover up my hair not most of the
Yeah,
time. But yeah, no. So um, when I left, I went into coaching. Well, I actually I went to uni when I first left the army. I dropped out after 4 months. It wasn't my thing at all.
yeah.
Not an academic person. Like I kind of did it for the wrong reasons that everyone else in my family had kind of been. So I was like, right, let me see if I can do it. My mental health started declining quite a lot around that time.
Yeah.
I just closed my laptop up and never went back again. So yeah, I do. I have some regrets to that because it's kind of like I still have to pay back the money for that one term, which is still being paid back now. But yeah, I kind of went into coaching instead, and I do love coaching. I'd like to try and help as many people as I can.
Yeah.
Um, I way I see it, even throughout my whole life, even if I can only help one person, and that I've done something.
Well,
Um,
that's what it's all about, mate. It's just
yeah,
even with us, we've got no interest in becoming a charity was full of engagement and
yeah, yeah,
thousands of followers and all this. We're just not interested. We're all about trying to help
yeah, of
individuals
course,
out, and for some weird reason, it works. It blows
yeah.
my mind, but it does work.
Well, talking is the best way to help, isn't it? So, you know,
Yeah, no, it is. So
get it out.
where did you learn that in the army or at the army?
Well, there was actually a phrase in the army, problem shared is a problem halved, which
Oh,
is
right, okay.
very true. Like even if that person doesn't take on, like you don't, that person, the person you tell doesn't have to take on your problem, but getting it out there, getting it off your chest, just give a place to vent and a place to send like that sort of negativity or something. Like get it out of you. You don't have to give it to someone else. They don't have to take it on, but just yeah, even if you just talk to yourself in the mirror like a weirdo, sound, isn't it?
Yeah. We've all been there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So far. So how did you, so away from your mental health, how did you get back on the straight and narrow?
um, gym, gym helped me a lot.
Right, okay,
I
fitness.
mean, I mean, going to the gym, not a guy called Jim.
Right, okay, yeah, each their own, mate.
Yeah, no, I like to try. I so yeah, addiction hit me quite hard when I left the army.
So,
That was
drugs.
drugs, yeah, alcohol, and it wasn't. It didn't necessarily. It wasn't like it helped, but it kind of covered up how I really was feeling. And it took me a long time to actually eventually be like, oh shit, I think I might have a problem here. Like,
Right, okay.
I think I might have some sort of mental health problem. And I eventually went onto a waiting list for it, which took quite a long time to actually get seen by someone.
Yeah,
But I mean, the box standard NHS counselling, it didn't really work for me, and it doesn't work for a lot of people.
yeah.
And that's not so much the counsellor's fault or the NHS's fault. It's just down to it works for some people, but just doesn't work for everyone else. Um, and yeah, like, a few years later after that, like I've just recently, well, I don't have my official screening for it, but ADHD, I've got like I'm basically riddled with that. I didn't realize how much it really affected my life because
Yeah.
I didn't know I had one. I didn't know I had it, but now I do. I'm like, fuck, like
Right, okay.
my
Yeah,
life could be a lot different if I knew that was a thing
yeah.
back
So,
when I was a kid.
so you're waiting for an official diagnosis on that then, are you?
Yeah, yeah. I've got ADHD and autism screening. It starts next month. It's every Thursday throughout October. And I'm nervous but quite excited to see how things can go once I have that official diagnosis, to see what ADHD medication can do for me. Not necessarily, because it doesn't work for everyone. Again,
Yeah.
some things work for some people, for some things don't, do they? Oh,
What's
he's
the cat's
falling
name?
all over the. My cat's name, right? My cat. It was Eros, and now it's Prince Eros Lucifer March.
Well, okay, you
Yeah.
look like a rat twat standing in the garden, in the garden trying to.
Oh yeah, no, it's his official full name. I normally call him like just Eros or Prince or Lucifer, but I pick one of the three.
Well, okay, no, that's fair enough. Yeah,
um,
yeah. So how do you keep your head straight while waiting? Because you must have been waiting a couple of years at least, haven't you? Most people have.
yeah, so I first put in about something about it last year. Um, I got some paperwork sent through that I filled all that out, sent it back, and then I got told, "Oh yeah, you're on a waiting list now." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Okay, well, okay, so I'm on a waiting list." Didn't think it was going to be that long, and eventually I just hadn't heard anything for ages. I remember putting another thing into my GP, and then they contact me back saying, "Yeah, you've done everything your end. You just got you're on the back of a long waiting list now." I was like, "Yeah, okay, well, I kind of need something now, because
yeah,
the more I'm becoming aware of it, the more I'm realizing I need help for it."
yeah.
And now I got something through the post about a month or so ago saying I'm now on another waiting list, which could take several years. And I was like, "Do I have several years?" Like, by the t- by the time I get to
It's the
um,
first cat we've had on MANUP.
is it
Yeah,
actually?
I'm
Right,
pretty sure it is. Yeah,
it's my first cat, so
yeah.
anyway, well,
Okay.
since I was an adult, I had one when I was a
Yeah,
kid. But yeah, no, yeah, several years, and I was like, I don't know if I can wait several years. I found out that was it's actually 5 years waiting. That several years was. And then a friend of mine, she actually told me about a company called Psych UK, um, and
is
you
that
fill out.
P? I know that. I know the one you mean. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
They basically, it's private healthcare, but they work alongside the NHS or something.
yeah,
Um, and she sent me the paperwork for that, and then she said basically, if you fill this out and send it into your GP, they have to action it, and that waiting list is a lot shorter. So I did that, and then a month later, I'm getting my things in about what dates my appointments are. I'm like, yes, Sam, okay, cool. This has put my mind at ease a little bit.
yeah,
Um, but no, things that do help, I'd say, is routine, definitely. And now, when I was in the army, I was nowhere near. I wasn't a great soldier. I was below average. I was a below average soldier, but I had routine, so that kind of like kept me busy, and I was always doing something. And I
yeah,
was told, most importantly, I was told what to do, so I
yeah.
didn't have to really think for myself.
Well, you couldn't have been that blow. How long was you in there for? 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
You couldn't have been that bad.
Oh, ask the lads, mate.
Well, okay, fair enough. Yeah, no,
um, yeah, no. No, thing is, I've always tried my best, but
yeah,
then my best is I'm just, I see other people put in probably less effort in, or just as much effort, and they are flying.
yeah,
And I'm always sat there like thinking, what is wrong with me? And I was
yeah,
at school as well. I was struggled at school a lot. I've always struggled to fit in play wherever I've gone as well. That's something I've been doing a lot more now, is just being who I actually am. And if
yeah.
people don't like that, they don't like it. But
That's
again,
that's a hard one to accept, though, isn't it?
yeah, it is, because it's a big thing I've been learning about from like a lot of ADHD pages I've started following recently. It's called masking.
Yeah,
And then when you get late diagnosis of ADHD, you then just feel like an imposter. You feel like you've been an imposter your whole life,
yeah,
because you've never really been who you really are.
yeah,
Um, and that's it's in a there's another thing that they call it ADHD grieving, and that's not where you're not grieving a loss. You're grieving what you could have had,
yeah,
what the life you could have had if you knew about this when you were a kid,
yeah.
or you could have managed it. You could have had it medicated, and yeah, it's sometimes sad enlightenments, but sometimes it's really nice realizations, like, oh, I'm not broken. I'm just different.
Yeah, yeah, you just
Yeah,
deal with life in
yeah,
a different way.
uh,
My wife's ADHD.
yeah.
Total pain in the ass, mate.
Yeah,
Pain in the
tell
ass.
me about it. I'm
I
a pain
wouldn't.
in my own ass.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change
Yeah,
it. But there are some things I'm just, I don't know, like just random cleaning on a Sunday for no
yeah.
reason, or random stuff like that. But I don't mind it. it's about learning it though, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
about, sorry, not learning. It's about it's learning about it,
yeah,
so how,
having awareness.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah, I think the only thing I disagree with you on is I think some of those social media pages are really, really good. I
Yeah, yeah,
really do. I think when it's written by a professional, at least somebody who's got lived experience, rather
yeah,
than,
yeah, yeah.
do you get me like, do you use LinkedIn or whatever else?
I do a little bit, not a
And
lot.
LinkedIn is just like every single person has got ADHD, and
Yeah,
and that they're like, no, this is ADHD, and then you'll get some people who don't have those exact same symptoms or
yeah, yeah.
else. And I don't know. I think it's just, I think it's
So,
really off-putting.
some people do kind of do annoy me when it comes to ADHD, because people will say about me having it, and then I'll go, then someone else will go, "Oh, everyone's got a bit of ADHD," and I'm like,
So yeah,
"Do they? Do yeah, okay, if you feel like you need to say that, because it kind of takes it away the struggles that I've had, and
yeah,
takes it away the struggles that other people have had. Like, no, not everyone has a little bit of ADHD. Not everyone has a little bit of autism, because it just takes it away from the struggles, and it kind of like, oh, so you're just taking it back to, okay, yeah, I'm broken. You're not it's diminishing the struggles that I've actually gone through.
that's a good
Um,
point, mate. Yeah, that's
and oh, my cat's stuck under the sofa.
well, okay.
One second. Sorry.
That's all right. I've never had that before, man. That before either, but
No, this is one of the worries I had about him coming downstairs, because like these recliner sofas, and I was worried about him coming down the stairs, getting
yeah,
stuck underneath them, and then someone sits on the recliner, pulls the thing, and then you know.
okay, well, okay.
So,
Yeah. But
but
any, yeah, but anyway, where were we? I forgot where.
yeah, no, about like everyone claiming to have ADHD and autism, and it taking away the struggles that people who actually do have it
Yeah,
away.
valid point. Yeah,
Um, but no, I don't know if it's because, I mean, I can kind of see where they're coming from, because sometimes things are problems people things that people with ADHD struggle with do just seem, when you read it, it's like, "Oh, is that really a problem? That's just being an adult."
mm,
And then when you kind of put the other layers on top of it, like w- these very easy adult problems are exacerbated by the noises that we have, like the constant monologue in our minds, because
mhm,
that's something that I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a thing. I thought everybody had that. I
yeah,
thought, that your inner voice, or monologue, in a monologue,
yeah,
right? I thought everyone had that all the time. I mean, I've got about 5 or 6 going off all at the same time, and it's
yeah,
quite overwhelming. Like, I found out recently people have silence, and I'm like, oh, that sounds nice.
yeah, yeah.
um,
So how do you keep your head straight on that? Of just keeping your focus, or can
music, music helps a lot with that.
that's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
because when I can focus on that, I can try and focus on that rather than the chatter or the shouting that's going off in my mind all the time. And I like to listen to. I actually listen to classical sometimes when when I'm at home. I leave
Really?
classical on for the cat when I'm away as well.
Well, okay.
um, but that's quite calming. Melodic music, so like house music's quite good.
Yeah.
I do go to raves and festivals as well. So yeah, that they're probably some of the only times where I see everyone else is going absolutely crazy, and I'm kind of just stood there, like, kind of just swaying.
Yeah.
And it's some of the only time that I actually feel peace in my mind.
Well, okay. No, I get that. I'm a retired DJ. Used to organise raves and all sorts.
Nice, nice.
Way back in the day.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So you said, I know you obviously you got your diagnosis and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm.
you're one of the few ones actually I have on here where you generally feel like you're at some sort of peace with yourself and just going with the flow now.
Yeah, somewhat, somewhat. Like, part of the reason why I want to get just pure focus on just myself and my life, and stability, is
Yeah.
not just for myself, it's for people around me as well, because I've been so up and down all over the place. um I am changing employments all the time,
Yeah.
and it's not it's not just unfair on myself. I need to give myself a little bit more credit sometimes, but also it's not fair on people like my mum supports me so much, like,
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be here, wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for her support. My nan, my stepdad, my
yeah,
sister, you know, and if I can get in a place where I can be stable and I can be happy, and then I'm sure it's going to be a lot more beneficial for them as well, people around me. And
absolute respect for saying that, mate.
yeah,
Absolutely. And the reason, and I think I said this quite a while ago, I've said it on MANUP before. I think I said it in a conference, and
mm,
people got really pissed off with me because they're just like, why are you saying that? I'm like, because even living with somebody with whatever mental health issue or problem,
yeah,
or illness, it is really hard work for for people around
yeah, yeah,
around them. I'm not trying to pass blame. I'm BPD. I'm high function BPD.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can go batshit mental
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah,
My wife gets the brunt of that. Do you
yeah,
get what I mean?
yeah.
And whatever else. And I think it's well done on you to, because I think when we're supporting people, we do forget about the people around their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so good on you, mate, for going. Yeah, it's not just about you; it's about everybody
Yeah,
else around you. That's quite music to my ears, mate. Really.
yeah.
You
See,
know?
I see a lot of people these days. They say things, but like they don't. No, not many people care about other people these days. It's all about themselves, and I get that. I do get that because you do need to take care of yourself. And it was actually something. Just a quick anecdote on that. Last year, I was in a very, very, very bad place, and very bad place, and I was potentially going to be doing something pretty stupid. And then I'd gone to a family barbecue, and just before I left, my nan grabbed me, and it's almost like she knew something, but she put her hand on my chest and went, "You're number one. You focus on number one. I'm very proud of you." And when she said that, I got into the car, and I just got into the car. Everyone drove away, and I went, "Ah!" Like just screamed, and then I was like, "Shit."
Mm.
Fuck, I can't do this. I've got other people in my life. I'm not I need to think about other people, not just myself. Even if it doesn't matter how bad I feel,
Yeah.
because about how bad other people are going to feel as well,
Yeah. No.
potentially because of my actions.
Yeah. No.
You know?
Absolutely. And good on you, mate. No, absolutely good on you. And I think yeah, we've had chats with people who've thankfully survived suicide,
Mm,
and they've glad that they failed at it and all this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I've done it. I've been there myself. I was a suicide. Well, I tried to take my life 3 times, and thankfully I'm bad at it.
Right, okay, yeah, good, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's good to
that
be
was
bad at
back in.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, that was yeah. Well, that's what I said. I said I turned it into a bit of a joke. I was like, I don't like to be bad at things, but I'm glad I'm bad at killing myself.
yeah. I don't
um,
blame you. But I think that's the thing when it comes down to mental health, and it frustrates me. Is sometimes people try telling other people how to talk about it.
yeah,
I'm like, do you know what? It's just trying to kill yourself. That's a traumatic thing.
yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And like the shame
One of the
of
scariest moments of my life, that's for sure.
yeah, no,
And I've
absolutely.
been in some pretty scary. I've been in Afghanistan. That
Yeah,
wasn't very scary compared to trying to actually kill yourself.
no,
So
exactly that. But I think, but I think the thing is the one thing where I've spoken to people who have survived is the shame that they felt they've given their or not given their family. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Do
yeah,
you get what I'm trying?
yeah.
So
Well, I remember trying to tell my. I remember when I tried to tell my mum.
yeah,
And I remember just sitting in the car with her, and I was like, we were just having a normal conversation, and knowing that I was about to say what I was going to say, but I didn't really know how to put it into words. And I was just like halfway through a sentence, I was just like, tried to kill myself last night.
how
You
did
know, it's like,
I was going to say how did you
I
take
think we
that
just
one?
sat,
But
I think we just sat there in silence for a couple of minutes, and then,
no, well, that's a lot. There's a lot to process, though, isn't
yeah,
it?
because I just feel like when you try and do something like that, and then you tell these people, people that you love and people around you, people feel like it's their fault, even though it's not. I mean, I've been there myself when people have attempted, or I've got friends who have succeeded, and then afterwards I'm like, is there something I could have done?
Yeah,
You know, um, and that's something else you're just putting on people that you love if you don't talk about it before it gets to that stage,
yeah.
and it's not easy to talk about. That's the thing.
No, exactly. It's like my friend Amy. I think she was on here once.
Yeah,
She said when somebody's close, if they're clearly struggling, and you put out an olive branch, whatever the thing is when
yeah,
they to her it felt like if they're not happy, she gets more upset that they won't talk. It's like, do you not trust me?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a sad thing, isn't it? Really, but I guess it is kind of like that, though, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to talk about, and it's the only time it ever gets. Most people talk about it after they've tried to,
Yeah.
and then, but that's kind of a little bit too late, because it's the chances are you might not have been able to have that conversation, and trying to open up people to actually try and talk about things before they get to that stage. But the thing is, some people don't know. Like when I tried to take my life, I wasn't planning on. It's not like I was planning on taking my life. It was impulsive decisions,
Right.
and
That's
that's
interesting.
that's another danger as well. And that's also like that impulsivity comes with ADHD quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why having such a late diagnosis is kind of like, fuck, I could have avoided that if I'd have known about having, like, being a person. Because I do things, I don't realize I'm being impulsive at the time. Like, because I don't really know, I didn't know much about it, and then I found out that, oh yeah, you tend to be more impulsive when you got ADHD. I was like, well, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But
No, it's good that you seem to have. I was going to say forgiving yourself. No, you've learned about yourself now and
yeah,
happy to accept it. So good on you, mate. So just before we call it a day, now I'm just
yeah.
conscious, whatever that word is. Yeah, that's what it is, mate. Just conscious of time. So if someone's like watching this, then here's your couple of minutes, really.
Yeah,
So if someone's watching this, there, I hate the word triggered. It's a word which is just thrown about, but I guess that's
yeah, yeah,
what we can use. If
yeah,
someone can relate to this, and they might even be thinking, let's face it, they might be thinking of calling it a day.
yeah.
What would you say to them to do?
Talk to someone. Doesn't even matter if you know them. In fact, first person I ever opened up to about something that happened to me before was a random person in the smoking area of a pub. I'd had a few drinks. We were just having when you meet someone in the smoking area and you just
Yeah,
like start chatting to them, having a 5-10 minute conversation, and then I just came out with some pretty deep stuff, and then that person was then like, huh? I just walked away, but I was like, fuck. I feel
yeah,
like I've just had a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. And then that's kind of set a tone for me. After that, I started talking a lot about things, like not being ashamed of things, and just getting things out there, even if not even necessarily wanting a response. Even sometimes I'd make jokes about myself, because that was my cope. That's always been my coping mechanism. Jeez, and neither of us can get our words out.
yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah,
um, yeah, that was a coping mechanism for me, turning trauma into comedy.
yeah.
Making people laugh with it, because if I can make myself laugh about it, other people don't need to feel awkward about it either.
That's
Um,
a better point. And
yeah,
I said earlier, I think that's what frustrates me about the topic of mental health is we put on the white coats and we try and fix it.
yeah,
And do you know what? If your way dealing with everything what's going on in your head is by having a laugh and a joke about it,
yeah,
well, it's not wrong.
yeah,
It's not wrong. There is no rule to how you
exactly.
let stuff out. And I think you said it as well. But it's like we actively promote the best way to talk about mental health is by not mentioning mental health.
Yeah, just chatting, having a chat.
Exactly. Yeah. Even
Yeah.
sometimes like my cat's doing my head in. There we go. Stuff like that. Do you get what I mean? Rather than I think blokes are worse for it. Is we'll get so I don't know. I've broken something today, and then tomorrow that's still bugging me, and then something else happens, and then all of these little life problems just all
Yeah.
add up and up and up.
It, I think for men it's still very difficult for men to talk about, because l- m- you a man talks about their mental health, it can be seen as
Yeah,
unmasculine, um, um, and then some people will say that it's a man's way of making an excuse for bad behavior. Um,
I
I've
hate
had
that
that.
term.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
uh,
heard that. Yeah,
yeah. Um, but it's not. It's just sometimes a man just needs to be able. I do this quite a lot. I sit in my car and not drive anywhere, just
yeah,
because that's where I think. That's
yeah,
where I get my thoughts together and stuff like that. And then realise I've been sat in the car for 2 hours, and I'm like,
Well, okay. Yeah.
but no, and another thing, if you can't talk, if you're not quite there yet, where if you can't talk, go to the gym. Don't whether you know what you're doing or not, just move yourself, move your body, go for a walk. Like a lot of the time, going to the gym is the hardest time is going the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm not always consistent. I try and go 5-6 times a week, but then I'll do that for 2-3 months, and then I'll not go for a month.
Yeah.
And then the moment I get back in there again, my mind is elevated straight away. And like don't rely on motivation to go either. You need to create the habit. Habit is stronger than motivation.
And that's the hardest one, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's probably the most important. It really is. But anyway, let me hit that record button.
Yeah, go on.
That's a good bomb.